Preparing the live stream.
Here we go. Look how far we've come.
Look at that. Okay. Looks like we're going on to the Facebook, the book face. Let me just see, make sure we are live. Have a look-see in here. Check the phone. Are we going live? Oh, we are. Look at that.
Looks like we are.
God.
Hello.
We look good too.
Yeah, look at us go.
Nice, nice. Happy days. Awesome. Welcome to another episode, guys, of the Ask TPB show. This week's session is all about how do I get back 8 hours of free time per week. Something we come across all too often is guys working 60, 80 hours a week plus and running around like a headless chicken. So I've brought in Peter Kim. He's our head of member success here. Generally one of the first people you'll see when jumping on board on the program. So he does this, knows this like the back of his hand. It's one of the first exercises we run through because ultimately we can't help you make more money. We can't help you get more leads if you don't have any time to implement these systems. So first thing we do on day dot is run through a couple of exercises, which we're going to run through right now with you. So if you actually go through this process for yourself based off this recording, then you will get time back, all right? And it works for every single person we put through it so far, and you'll be no exception. So if you really want to save yourself some time, go through the exercise yourself. If not, feel free to reach out and we can help you out as well. So Peter, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me on, and really looking forward to getting everyone some time back. So, hey guys, from that going forward, you will see me as one of your first few sessions, but also you will be seeing Yorick, who has taken on board, which is from our delegation, which we'll go through very shortly. So, I'm just going to show you guys exactly what to do. All you're going to need is a pen and a paper.
High tech, eh?
High tech. Look at this technology, 2021.
Oh, go Peter.
Look at this beautiful whiteboard that we've got here. Okay, so pen and paper. All you need to do first, okay, I want you guys to go through and write a laundry list of everything you would do in a typical week to a typical fortnight. And the space here you've got may not be enough for you, then that's okay. We just got to write it on the back of the page. But I want you to go through a laundry list of everything you would do, including starting from opening up the site, getting the boys ready. But I want you to be very, very specific. Specificity is key to getting your time back and really using your default diary to its most full effect.
Awesome. And so what are we generally looking for on this list here, Peter? So
in this list, we're going to be looking from one is your very high value task, the task that really shift the needle.
Yep.
And in order for you to be actually working on the business rather than in it.
Yep.
Okay. And in order for you to be able to really get the business up and running and continue to go, you need to get away from the day-to-day task and even being on the tools.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
Awesome. So one of the first things that I want you to do within this list of everything you will have, okay, I want you to go ahead and put a tick next to all the tasks that generate revenue for your business. Okay.
And what are some of those examples that people might have on their list in there?
Well, one of the key things that people will have in here will be invoicing is one. Okay, because we need to send the invoices out. We find quite a lot of times where people forget, and so it's about scheduling it in, making sure that it's done. Okay, because we need to get paid.
Yeah,
the invoices.
Otherwise, the boring work, right? That brings in the money.
Exactly right. And we call these tasks the feeding the animals task, right? We need to do this in order for the business to run. Because if we don't do this, we don't feed the animal dies, right? Same with your business. If these are not done, your business cannot continue. Okay. So you're going to have quite a lot of it, including being on the tools. Being on the tools, getting paid by the hour, as well as project management, getting paid by the hour, is a very revenue generating task for sure.
Yep.
Okay.
100%.
Excellent. And so once you go through this, afterwards, straight after, I want you to go through your list again. And this time, I want you to put a $ next to all the tasks that makes you a lot of money.
That's what we're all after. And I think you've already got a list here as well. You've got an example that you might be able to bring up. Was it Gordon's list? Not sure if you've got that kicking around there somewhere.
Correct.
It might help us get some inspiration, get some of the juices flowing as to what is actually should be on this list and what is on a general list that guys might have. So ultimately, if you're just starting out, you're going to have everything on your plate, right? You're going to wear every single hat, whether that's invoicing, whether that's on the tools, whether that's meeting clients on site, whether that's sales, whether that's marketing. And then as you grow, you're going to obviously have other parts of the business that you're going to have less involvement in, but we ultimately want to capture everything that you do on that weekly or fortnightly basis, no matter how big or how small, so that we can identify it for a start and either get rid of it or focus more time on it. So do you want to run us through this list here, Peter, as far as what you mean by what is the money generating activity that we could run through on this list here? Let's have a look.
Excellent. All right, so this is a list done by one of our members called Gordon Sanson. Okay, he has broken his down to each department, I guess. So he's broken it down to marketing, sales, quantity surveying, the design, if you're doing design also, the actual construction being on site, as well as the admin work. As you can see, a lot of the admin work is the account side of it, invoicing, emails, things like that. So these would either be a nothing next to it, if not a revenue generating, because obviously the invoice has to get sent out, which is your part of your revenue. The high value here, 100%, the part is sales, right? We need to be going out and make the sales. We get the sale and we get, priced at a good margin. We make a lot of money. We actually make the sale, sign the contract. We make a lot of money. So sales is one. Marketing will be part of a revenue generating, as we need the leads to come in order for us to be able to make the sale. We need to fill up our pipeline.
Yep, exactly, 100%. So, and then you've also got one there, actually, look where your mouse is there, was maintaining the database, right? And that's part and parcel of some of the marketing stuff that you're doing, is keeping track of where your leads are at, but ultimately not a very high, revenue generating task, right? So that's a good example of something that ultimately we could move on to in the next part, which is getting off your plate and saving you that time, right? So, one of the couple of big things that he found on here was that he's just doing a lot of low dollar work. So, it's obviously identifying all of those high value tasks, the money generating tasks, and then in short, clearing off what else is not important through a couple of different ways. So you want to run us through from there, Peter?
Awesome. Excellent. So obviously this is your business, guys. You need to be working on the things that you want to be doing also. So part of this, Gordon did not like the marketing. So that was one of the first things that he wanted to get rid of as part of his stop doing list. Okay. So from that list that you've got, we can provide those lists for you. Okay. Once you've figured out the high value task where he can go out and make the sale, revenue generating, project management on the tools, invoices, okay? And then the rest of the tasks that you've got here are your stop doing list. You as a team, especially as the owner, you guys need to be working on your strengths. So we can complement each other with our weaknesses, okay? If we can all work within our strength, the machine will work very, very smoothly. Okay, so all these other tasks here that we have, example of emails, follow-up emails, qualifying the leads that come in, some of the phone calls that we get day to day, okay? Those are the things that we need to get rid of, okay? And there are 4 ways for us to do so, okay? And the best way to do this is to have your default diary ready. As you can see, I'm going to draw up this beautiful looking diary.
Good too.
Oh, look
Where's
at
it with
that.
the whiteboard?
Straight lines. I've done this a few times, as you can see. And if you don't have an online calendar, or if you don't have one, that's fine. On a piece of paper, draw a box, put 4 lines through it. You've got yourself a calendar. Okay. So as you obviously Monday here, Friday here. Okay. We want to be able to now, within the list that you have, start filling out your default diary. And because a lot of times your calendar may be, or your list may be filled with a lot of these tasks. Okay. What we want to do, or what we don't want to do, is fill up our calendar with a stop doing list first. What we want to do is fill our calendar with the high value, really the needle shifting work within your business. Okay. One of the main things that we like to do, especially even a lot of successful people around the world, the most effective time for us to be working on this will be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning. Okay. We want you to block that time out and put that task in there so it gets done. Okay, especially early in the mornings. If you need to make some sales calls, you need to work on some strategic alliances, even coaching your team. Okay, do that first thing in the morning to get that out of the way so we can be very busy on site for the boys, and then you can go and start working on some of the revenue generating tasks as well.
Because it's just structuring the week right. There's a famous saying, and it's kind of talks about the different sizes of rocks, pebbles, and sand. Can you imagine you're trying to fill up all of these things into an empty space, or the calendar, you've only got a limited time as everyone else does it during the week. So you imagine if you put the sand into a jar, okay, then you try and put the pebbles in, and then you try and put the rocks in, it's not going to fit, right? You can have the rocks will be sitting right on the top. Whereas if you put those rocks into the jar first, then fill it in with pebbles, right? And then fill it in with sand, the sand will go around all the pebbles will fall in between the big rocks, and everything seems to slot into place a lot nicer. So when we're talking about that reference there, we're talking about the big rocks being the high value tasks that you've actually identified here, that we want to get those in as non-negotiables, right? So like Peter says, if you've got invoicing to do, you can do that at a set time every single week for a block of a couple of hours. Or you can, do things like your sales calls, your qualifying your leads, your site visits, things like that, in those blocks in the morning. And again, blocking it out for a good chunk of time where you can get that done in its entirety, and then move things like client meetings or those other things that you can fit around them sort of later on in the day, okay? So that it's that time where you don't have the brain power, right? Everyone gets tired at the end of the day, and we ultimately want to be using all of our energy, all of our brain power at the start of the day.
Exactly right. And we want to be able to theme our day, so we're not all over the place. We don't have to go on site twice a day, morning and afternoon, and then having to do visits as well as the sales as well as invoicing. We want to be able to theme our day. So if you're working on numbers, you can do numbers for the first half of the day, and the second half of the day it could be on site. But you want to theme our day so we can get productivity increased, as well as really getting these things done in order as you need to, instead of being scattered brained everywhere.
Okay. No such thing as multitasking, right?
No, exactly right. We want to be able to work on each of our tasks. Okay, we always use the analogy of getting the gold from the other island.
Yep. Do
not build 8 bridges that's halfway. You're never going to go get that gold, and you're not going to feel like you've accomplished anything. Build that one bridge, get a bit of gold, come back so you can build another bridge with that gold as well.
Yep. Okay. 100%. Nothing better feeling than when you've actually ticked something off in its entirety, right? Rather than starting 5 or 6 different things and leaving them open, you're going to get a bit scattered going, oh man, I've got all these things on, but you tick one thing off, you tick another thing off, you tick a third thing off, all of a sudden you're unstoppable, right?
100% right. So we just spoke to some of our members, Michael Ponder being one from America. He was talking about how he has 100 things to do, and you can get rid of 40, and the next day it could be another 100, right? It's because, but he knows that he's got a whole lot of work done because he's scheduled it in. But as owners, what we would do is, as soon as one thing gets done, we're just going to add it in with another task that was on our mind. Okay, nothing wrong with that, but you've still got a whole bunch of your tasks completed. Okay, awesome.
So when we look at some of these other smaller tasks, then the things that we've identified that aren't very good for your time. So, I heard from one of the guys the other day, runs a $12 million business doing new builds, and he's got a couple of crews, and he starts telling me that he's running down to the merchant to get supplies. I'm like, dude, you're the business owner. You've got much better things to do. You've got 3 apprentices. Why not get one of them to jump in the van, go down the road? It's 30, 45 minutes, get the stuff, come back. There's, a bunch of 2 hours probably wasted on something that the apprentice could have done. So what can we do with some of these lower dollar tasks, Peter, as far as getting them off your plate?
So there, again, like I said, there are 4 things we can do. Okay. First thing, my favorite, is to delegate some of these tasks. Okay. Just spoke with John Anderson from Lunar Construction, where he said he was on his way to get materials, exactly like you said. And halfway through, he thought, why am I going to get materials right now?
Yeah.
Right.
Madness.
And he said, I'm wasting time driving here, doing this, and then put it into the truck and driving back, dropping it off, coming back to the office. So he thought the next time he needed to do it. Awesome. Let's get the apprentice to do that. And you are now elevating yourself with the time, but also you remember you're elevating the team member of the process of how to do this as well. Picking up material is not just going and picking it up. You need to get the right line items, you need to get the right codes, and you need to get the right materials, right? To delegate, to elevate yourself with the time, and elevate your team members with the knowledge and the trust and the confidence of you. 100%. Excellent. And so delegation is one, and obviously you can do that with a lot of the other team members. Secondly, okay, is to outsource. Okay, we have plenty of members. We have Vasi over in America as well. We recently just spoke with Jeffrey Smithers, is to outsource. So virtual assistants is amazing, especially with a lot of the admin work that you've got. And if that's just emails, no phone calls, even phone calls can be fine. But if you can get virtual assistants to do 20 hours to buy you back a lot of the time that you have going on with emails, calls, it's amazing to do, and you're going to get so much time back.
Be life changing, right? And you can outsource anything, right? Like you obviously want to keep the most important things, the money generating activity in house. Like you obviously never want to outsource your sales process or anything like that. But you can outsource your marketing. You can get a marketing firm to help you out, or a marketing junior from the local university or the local school who wants some work experience. You can outsource your pricing. There's lots of third party, QS, quantity surveyors or estimators that can do that on your behalf. You can outsource, like Peter says, the bookkeeping or the personal assistant side of it, dedicated bookkeeper or an assistant. So plenty of ways to outsource stuff, right?
Exactly right. And you guys, this will be quite familiar with a lot of you, where you finish your day and you go home to do the pricing for 3-4 hours, right? That's your family time. Outsource that. So one, stress off your back, and two, it gets done efficiently because these guys are specialists and they're going to work 100% on doing this instead of having 3 or 4 other things on your mind.
Yep.
Excellent. Okay. Thirdly is to eliminate. Okay. And this is not to eliminate the actual task, but to eliminate a certain process. So a great example of one of our members, well, more than one of our members, the more we talk about this, is that you could be on site working and you get a phone call.
Yep.
They stop what they're doing and answer that phone call. Okay. Give them information of what they think. It's rushed because you're trying to get them off the phone so you can continue.
Yep.
And again, it happens again, right? And so you're not really giving them efficient information, but also everything you're doing gets pushed out. And this is why you're at home after dinner, during dinner, still working 7, 8, 9 p.m. Okay. Eliminate that. Okay. Still number one rule in sale as well. You cannot control the client, but you can control your process. Bring them into your process. Do not answer and have a time that you will stop answering. Educate your client to say, these are the times that we're going to meet. These are the times that we're going to talk. Okay.
100%.
If you don't, you're also setting out the precedence of them being able to call you anytime and even weekends as well.
Yeah, 100%. So you don't pick up the phone, that's fine. You give them a call back, at an allocated time during the day. If you're small, put aside a couple of times a day where you'll call back people that have called you. If you do pick up the phone, use the phone scripts that we have and ultimately deflect them slightly. So take their information, don't let it go to waste, right? And let them know clear next steps around, awesome, I'll give you a call back at 3 p.m. this afternoon and run through your inquiry. So yeah, absolutely, we can eliminate that, or go a step further and take your phone number off the website, take your phone number off your local listings, wherever you're getting your leads from, and instead use a web form, right? People are busy, you're busy. People are still going to fill out a web form with their name, email, and phone number, and ultimately a bit of a description about your job, where you capture that information. You don't have to have the conversation, and it just works a lot better. So you can eliminate that by, again, like Peter says, the process, right?
Yeah, it's a process. Process is key. And by doing that, obviously, you're going to get some time back, and your partners will be happy and your kids will be happy because you actually have time for them when you come home, not stressed of having to work again.
Stop the wife nagging, right?
Exactly right.
Awesome.
All right. And the fourth and final, if you cannot delegate these tasks, and because it's yours, it's your baby, you don't want to let it go, you cannot outsource it, whether it's cash flow or whether it, you don't trust. You cannot eliminate your process because you have to answer these calls for your clients. That's fine. Then what you want to do is schedule it into your diary.
Yep.
Okay. It still needs to get done. No matter how small the task, it needs to get done. So as a minimum, you want to schedule it in, put a time aside. Again, Mondays, we don't want to do any high value, as after the weekend, it can get quite hectic. So Monday can be a great time to do a lot of these admin tasks. Schedule it in, time slot it, so it gets done. Time slot the breaks, time slot the times you're going to need to do it, time slot when you're going to turn your phone off, so your team and clients know you're busy.
100%. And it works so well as well. Like the other problem is that, if you, for example, client meetings or, progress meetings as far as on site, they're always pulling you left, right, and center, ringing you, sending you emails about where's this at, what's going on here. And this really helps not only free your time up, but also does a better job of communicating that to the client as well. So if you have a conversation with them and say, hey, Jenny, we're going to catch up with you on a Wednesday afternoon or a Tuesday morning, which of those times works best for you? Awesome. Cool. Well, we're going to do that every week. Okay. And if you can get me through any questions the day before, then what we'll do is we'll run through that, make sure we tick everything off for you and nothing gets missed, right? All of a sudden, you've then locked in a time that you don't need to, change from an email to a phone call from this person. You capture all of the info that you need from them and you can answer them all in one go. So saves you time, provides a better service for the client as well. So, scheduling that stuff in really does make a big difference.
Yeah, nailed it on the head. Being able to answer, instead of answering every phone call, to answer every question. Bring all the questions at once so we can use the time efficiently and be able to provide us the customer service that you want to be able to provide.
Awesome.
Quality as well.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Well, hopefully this has been helpful for you guys. If you do have any questions, feel free to chuck them in the comments. We can look back around to these. And if you've got any advice or feedback on what you want to see more of, then likewise, we can cover that off in the future episodes. But that's all for today, guys. If you do want a copy of the default diary of the example stop doing list that we had there, then feel free to drop a comment below and say, list, and we'll get that through to you. One of the guys will reach out, send that across, and make sure that you get the recording as well, so you can work through this exercise, get yourself some time back. So, hey, thanks very much for joining us today, Peter. Always a pleasure.
No worries. It was a pleasure.
Always. Sweet, man. All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Have a great day, guys.
Cheers.